Tommy, get over here. Son.
Hey, Rodolfo, go fuck yourself. I ain't coming. I don't work for nobody no more. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay here. Build my own shit. I'm my own boss now.
Yo, I heard from you in a minute. Yeah, I do. Fuck is going on though? All right, so tell them niggas to bring the smoke. We'll come lay them the fuck out. Simple. And come on, we family for life. Send me the details and I'll be there. I'm on my way.
Tommy and Tariq's next stop, right? This is the topic of today's video. Where are they headed? What is going to be the setting for Power Legacy? Before we even get into that, I'd love for you guys to check out my last couple videos. First, the worst fathers in Power history dropped out on Father's Day yesterday. Another one, these characters that must return in Power Legacy. I'm sure you guys would love that because there's a lot of characters that we need to pop back up. And obviously, finally, how Ghost could return in Power Legacy. Your boy's been pretty consistent this month. We've been locking in, dropping videos every day, locking in on the long form content. So support your boy and let's get right into it. I wanted to segue into the next spinoff. In my opinion, they should bring the Rodolfo character back because it just makes for a much more smoother and easier transition as to, you don't really have to explain why Tariq and Tommy would be going to California because there's already a connection that was made there years prior in the original Power, and obviously in the very beginning, very first episode of Power Book Force. So I think that's the kind of stuff that these shows got to do, is like just use past connections to justify actions in the future, right? So you don't have to do all this explaining and all this extra storytelling that we really don't need. And I've also heard people say, well, oh, maybe Tommy and Tariq should go back to New York. And for me, that doesn't really make sense because Tommy's supposed to be dead in New York. So it's a complete contradiction to have his character fake his own death and go back to the very city that he did it in. Like, it just wouldn't make sense. Now, could they make that work? Yeah, but it would just be kind of corny and mad cheesy in my opinion. So I really hope they don't do that. You guys remember about a year ago, Joseph Secor, who plays Tommy, actually posted a video pretty much admitting and saying that the show got canceled or they were telling another story and the story had come to an end. And he pretty much made it very clear, like, Tommy's journey in Chicago is over and they're going to move on to something else. So they've been planning this. They've been knowing what they were going to do. And it's very interesting when you look at like the cancellation of all the shows and you look at how, the end of Power Book 2 Ghost ended and how terrible it was, it kind of makes sense. Not justifying how bad the season was, but it kind of makes sense because you can see the direction that they were trying to go in. They were just like, we're just going to scrap these two shows and just pair the two biggest characters left in the Power universe together and hopes that works. Now, as they make that transition in the last season of Force, there's a couple questions we have to ask. What is going to happen that's going to make Tommy so desperate that he feels the need to call his nephew Tariq, the one who he pretty much abandoned and said that he would never rock with again, and they weren't family anymore and this and that. What is going to happen that makes him so desperate that he needs to reach out to Tariq, or to where Tariq is actually accepting and is going to just be like, drop everything and just pull up to Chicago? That is the question we need answered. Number one, the first threat is obviously going to be Miguel, right? Obviously, we know he was the villain in season 2, and Tommy kind of made things complicated by working with him and pretty much falling in love with his sister. And Jannard and Shanti, who are also plotting against Tommy, who I'm going to get to right after this, they found a way to seek that information out to Miguel, and now Miguel knows, and he pretty much took his girl away. And we know just by some of the teasers that we've seen for Force Season 3 that Tommy's probably going to get Maria back, and still very mad at them for spoiling that. But obviously Miguel is going to be one of the main villains that Tommy's going to have to deal with, right? The next threat that I actually briefly mentioned earlier is Jannard and Shanti, and actually these two will actually lead to the next threat that I think Tommy will have as well. But these two have been plotting on Tommy the entire last season, right? They're pretty much trying to get all buddy with him and friendly with him, trying to get close to him. And especially Shanti, he kind of played a role in helping get rid of Claudia, who I also don't think is dead, who's another threat that we're going to talk about as well. But Tommy not stupid. He knows he can't trust any of these Chicago people, and it's all going to come back to bite him in the ass if he does. Next up, we have Diamond, which might actually surprise a lot of you guys because Diamond is arguably the closest person to Tommy in Chicago because they're business partners and they're thriving right now. But if you guys watched the last episode of Force Season 3, you can see that Tommy and Diamond are not on the same page. And all it's really going to take is Diamond and his brother to kind of have that full reconciliation for him to turn on Tommy. You can't trust this dude. You can't trust. He can't trust anybody in Chicago. Nobody. None of them are on his side. None of them wanted him in Chicago in the first place. So now that you see this white boy come out of town and just take over the entire business, take over the entire city, come on now. We know how this is gonna end for him, right? And let's not also forget that Diamond already had a relationship with Miguel, as well as Jannard prior to even meeting Tommy. So don't be surprised if they kind of flip on him and just go join Miguel's side. Like, anything is possible with these Chicago people. If you if you know the city of Chicago, you know, like they don't play no games over there. Anybody could turn on anyone at any time, and that's definitely what's going to happen to Tommy in this last season, which is going to force him to get the fuck out of there. Next up, we have Claudia, right, who I don't actually believe is dead. They never really showed her death really or confirmed it. We just seen her get stabbed, and that's really it. That's not enough confirmation for me in Power to assume that a character is dead. And she's a character who was very smart. She was making a lot of moves and taught me how to get rid of her. So if she is alive, like I think she is, best believe she's gonna want revenge. You know what I mean? On her, on Vic and Tommy. So that's gonna be a very interesting storyline to see. And you can kind of see, like, with all of these threats, Tommy's going to have a lot to deal with, and it all makes sense why he would need Tariq. But there's one final threat that we haven't discussed yet that I think you guys will find interesting.
Nothing on that laptop.
Are you here to kill us?
No.
Did you save your friend? I know you killed my father. You won't say, but I know.
Look, kid, I get it if you feel some type of way about me. Whether I did it or not, it don't matter. But if you want to come and see me about it someday, I'll understand. I'll see you around.
Now, that final threat is obviously Lisa Marie and the Italians. And I think I made a couple of videos like 6 months ago, maybe almost a year ago, about how Elisa Marie and her Aunt Dolores, you know, and the Italians are confirmed to return and be in Force Season 3. And I remember seeing Joseph Secor at the premiere for the Power Book 2 Ghost premiere, and he was, you know, doing an interview, and he was pretty much saying why Force Season 3 is going to be the best season, you know, we've ever seen. And I understand why he's saying all of this, because we know we have the Tariq return. We know this final season is going to lead into the next spinoff. Elisa Marie and all of these different villains are, you know, popping back up. And I'm pretty sure some other OG Power characters are going to pop back up in this final season of Force. So there might be even more enemies that I'm not even thinking of right now, that more people that might pop up from the past. You know, Tommy has created a lot of enemies over the course of his time in Power and the whole Power universe. So don't be surprised if more enemies come along with this. And this is ultimately why he's going to need Tariq to show up, have his back. And man, I just can't wait. I mean, I can't wait. This is going to be a crazy season. I'm not sure when exactly Force is going to come out, because, you know, they say the fall, but they said the same shit with Raising Kanan. They said winter, and we ended up getting that shit in freaking March. So let's wait and see. Let's be patient. And I'm going to keep doing these videos, keep uploading daily, breaking down theories, predictions, and obviously giving you guys updates on whatever else happens. And if you guys have any thoughts, theories, things that I missed, things that you think might occur, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll definitely make some videos about it, react, and give you guys my thoughts and theories. See you guys on the next one. Peace.